Greetings from Tokyo, my dear friends. This is Daisuke, and I hope this message finds you well wherever you are in the world. So I'd like to take this opportunity to provide a brief reminder that on Saturday, March 7th, 2020, at 11 p.m. Tokyo time. So once again, Saturday, March 7th, 11 p.m. Tokyo time. It'll be my pleasure to once again have another film club live stream, and the film that will be the topic of discussion during the live stream, which is again March 7th, Saturday, 11 p.m. Tokyo time, will be the film that is directed by Hirokazu Kore-eda. The film is here in a Japanese Blu-ray form. The film is called Afterlife in English. It's called Afterlife. In Japanese, the title is Wonderful Life, as you can see here, which is once again the Japanese Blu-ray. Now, this film is a curious wonder. It's a marvelous gem of a film. It has so many interesting questions that it poses about the nature of memory and the way in which memory is important to our lives and how it seems to form part of our identities in terms of identifying, or not in terms of identifying, but in terms of creating our own identities vis-a-vis the world outside of us, and also vis-a-vis ourselves, how we think of ourselves and what we think of our lives, and what does it mean to us to in fact be alive, and what does it mean to have lived one's life, and how that is either set forth through recalling past memories, or is it more attuned to forgetting things that we have done in our life in order to create some kind of meaning at the end of it all. It's kind of a complicated question, I think, and the film presents answers that are, in fact, in a surprising way, not so easy. The film, I would suggest, is very nuanced, and it's very complex, and it is filled with a lot of so-called gray area when it comes to the trying to answer the questions that it poses with respect to the nature of memory and the nature of recollection, and this idea that it has a kind of remedial effect on the one hand, but it also has a kind of delusional effect on the other, and what that says about human nature. And the answers that it provides or hypothesizes, I think, are quite fascinating and it's definitely worth discussion. That's, of course, just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to this film. There are so many other wonderful little moments and themes that are at the heart of this film that I'd love to talk about in terms of the idea of recreating memory and the idea of what is more reliable, the recreation or the actual memory itself, especially when you're dealing with something that is so ephemeral. How to capture something and memorialize it when the actual thing itself that you're trying to capture is, by its very essence and nature, ephemeral and almost unattainable. What then becomes of the copy that is made? And I think therein lies a nice discussion when it comes to the idea of using film, and the idea of the reach of film and the reach of cinema on the one hand, but also the limitations of film and the limitations of cinema on the other, in trying to capture something that was really existent in life but is no longer there. Or perhaps it wasn't there to begin with. In fact, it might have been something that was completely made up and fictional. That also brings me to another great point about this film, is there's a great way in which this film seems to, quote-unquote, blend the realm of fiction with the realm of nonfiction, to the point that it somehow blurs the line between the two realms. And I think it's on purpose, because there is also a kind of statement that is being made, or a number of statements, I would say, that are being made in respect of the nature of fiction versus nonfiction, and the real versus the fictional, real life versus the story and the made up, the idea of memory and real life, the idea of film versus the ephemeral memory, and the way in which all of these intertwine, and somehow, whether it be one or the other, somehow lead us to a realization or a discussion or an answer as to what lies at the heart of human nature, and a kind of emotional experience, and a kind of yearning to want to have something to show for one's life at the very end, so to speak. And so these kinds of questions, I think, are at the fore of this, as I say, very remarkable gem of a film. And there are also, within those discussions, of course, really beautiful examples of the way in which we cherish our lives, the way in which we choose those memories that are important to us, and the way in which we hold on to those and try to recall those and remember them, even when they are of a time that is long since gone. What is the nature in which we as human beings are able to recall these, or perhaps unable to recall these, and what ultimate meaning does that have to us as individuals and to us as human beings? I think there's a real touching, quite beautiful emotional core to this film that relies just on that premise. And so I think this film holds a lot of rewards upon initial watch and upon constant rewatches. So that's one of the main reasons why it is my pleasure to be able to share with you just some thoughts that I have about this. Again, very lovely, charming, remarkable, and oftentimes quite challenging work. Very clever and very creative and inventive in some ways, and also quite direct, and also somewhat challenging in other respects. And so this is a very complex work that I think many people hopefully will have different maybe viewpoints on. And I'd love to hear what your take is on this film, this really fascinating film, which is called Afterlife, again from the great filmmaker that is Hirokazu Kore-eda. So once again, my friends, the Film Club live stream will take place Saturday, March 7th, 2020 at 11 p.m. Tokyo time. So if you can make it, I'd love to see you there. If not, then that's okay, because after the live stream is ended, I will then, or the video will then be uploaded onto this channel automatically. And so if for whatever reason you cannot make it, that's perfectly okay, my friends. There's no reason to feel pressured at all. But if you are able to join, even if it's for a little bit, I'd love to see you there, and I'd love to say hello to you in real time, live as it were. And if not, then you can always catch the video afterwards in your own free time whenever you have a moment. There's no hurry at all, my friends. But in any event, it would be my pleasure, my great honor and pleasure, to be able to hear what it is you have to say about this film directed by Hirokazu Kore-eda, and the English title of which being Afterlife. So, my friends, once again, Saturday, March 7th, 2020, at 11 p.m. Tokyo time. That is when I will be talking about this film, Afterlife. So, once again, if you are able to make it, I'd love to see you there. And if not, no worries, my friends, at all, because the video will then be uploaded onto this channel and you can watch during your own free schedule. So whatever the case may be for you, my friends, in any event, my friends, I hope you get a chance to catch up with this film, and I hope you enjoy it as much as I do. I really enjoy this film. But in the meantime, my friends, please take good care of yourselves. Please be happy and healthy and well. And please, please keep on watching a lot of great movies. I really mean that. Please just be well. Really take good care of yourselves and those around you. And please, I'd love to see you again very, very soon. So until we meet again, my friends, thank you and cheers.